Someone said that all art should be accessible, to which I wholeheartedly agree, but that we dress far too casually these days for events like the opera or theater or ballets or whatever you have, which I also agree with.
He hit me with it.
The thing is that there is no congruence between these two takes. It feels like right now they cannot coexist.
And that's because they can't. Not now, not ever. Dress codes are fundamentally exclusionary. They are barriers to entry, barriers to participation. They will always be opposed to access.
Today's dress codes are essentially cooked and unrecognizable, right?
This isn't true. Much like a lot of older forms of etiquette, dress codes are now unwritten rules. Implicit social conventions rather than explicit requirements. And we know this because people who show up to a Broadway show in a t-shirt and jeans will get the dirty side-eye from a lot of other people. People like, evidently, you.
If you go to a black tie event, you're sure to find guests without tuxes or gowns, and if you go to Broadway on a Saturday night, you are sure to find people entering beautiful historic theaters in athleisure pants, sneakers, and sweatshirts.
And if you were about to complain that that's disrespectful to the artists on stage, or that a shared dress code would foster a sense of community among the audience, like jerseys at a sports event, then I would at least be willing to entertain the argument. There would be a kernel of something there. But that is not where this is going. Instead, unfortunately, he's going to try to justify his classism and snobbery.
This can be good because it democratizes access to these events. I believe it also tends to lead towards casual consumption.
And his belief, unfortunately, is as far as we're going to get because he's never going to offer any evidence that supports his belief. And he can't because his belief is wrong. And we know that it is wrong, or else my students who show up in pajama pants and hoodies would be incapable of holding conversations about books. Take it from me, a guy who recently talked about teachers, cops, and the duty to protect while wearing a Moo Dang t-shirt.
Political thought, of course, is essential to the news that we engage with, to the political conversations we have with others, to the ability to empathize with those either closest to us or those we've never even met before.
But importantly, none of this has anything to do with whether you are wearing sneakers. A mention of empathy is also a little ironic here, given that you seem to possess so very little for people who can't afford to dress up to go out to the theater.
When we lean into casual consumption, we lean away from critical thought.
I'm actually going to cut this off right here because there's this funny bait and switch. Casual consumption in terms of thought and reflection gets substituted for casual consumption in terms of the content of what you're consuming, and it frankly it makes no sense. But the point stands. Wearing athleisure does not prevent you from being thoughtful. I never thought that that was something I would have to say on video, but you know, here we are.